Peace community, I'm Cris. We're at Finca Morada and Tequesta Land, North Miami, Florida. It is July, it's actually July 4th, as a matter of fact. It is very hot and it has been raining a lot. So this garden that we've been tending to for 5 years is at this moment very, very lush. And so I wanted to take this opportunity while all the plants are super grown before we do a pruning to show the value of incorporating a few different types of species. So support species, native species, and medicinal species into agroforestry systems, in agroforestry gardens, in food forests. A lot of folks talk about adding support species, and I want to talk about that and the different kinds. And also I want to talk about the value and importance of incorporating the medicinals and the natives as well. So here we are, and we can see some different islands, we can call them, where there's a lot of different types, different species growing here. And I'm going to show you right here. We have mango. This is a Kerry mango, and all surrounding this mango are support species. And so for here in our context, we decided to go with lemongrass. And so lemongrass is our main support species here. There are other grasses that you could go with, like Mombasa, but for us, we felt that Mombasa was too vigorous, as we've experienced in other gardens. And so we wanted to use lemongrass, and it has that dual purpose because it offers medicinal value to our community. We can share it with our community for anti-inflammatory teas. And it doesn't grow quite as fast, but still offers the value. So when it's time to prune, we like to prune during the waning moon leading into the new moon, or right at the new moon. And when we do that pruning, we cut the grass all the way back down, and that's going to release this incredible gibberellic acid that's going to encourage growth of the species that we're focusing on, in this case, the mango. And not only do we have this lemongrass, but we also have other edibles and medicinals in here that are for us, and they help to suppress weed growth, and they also help with the overall growth of everything. And so within, we have CISO spinach, Cuban oregano, cranberry hibiscus. We have pigeon pea, which adds nitrogen, so that's another support species. That's our support species. So this lemongrass is growing alongside starfruit, Tulsi basil, some boldo, Jamaican dogwood, which is a native tree. And so all of this lemongrass is here in support of those species, and also in support of us and community. Because we went with lemongrass, we're getting that medicinal value. And so we can take some and harvest it to share with our family, our community, and then we can also chop and drop it to help release that gibberellic acid into the system, help to encourage growth. So I like to use a rice knife. This is the rice knife. And when I use the rice knife, I always use a glove so I don't cut my opposite hand. So I'm gathering here the grass, and believe it or not, you can cut it all the way down if you want to, especially with when you're using Mombasa grass that grows really fast. You like to cut it all the way down. Because it's a lemongrass, it doesn't grow as fast. I don't cut it quite all the way down. I'm going to do like a foot. Go cut that grass. Now I can take some of this, save it, make some beautiful tea, and the rest will go back into the garden. And we'll do that with all of the grasses that are surrounding, and they'll especially go to mulch around the main trees, like the mango, the starfruit, the guava, etc. Over here we have a young starfruit, or carambola, and around it we have some, this is Tulsi basil, we have tropical spinach, Suriname spinach. We also have Ciso spinach, Cuban oregano, cranberry hibiscus, and then we have boldo, false boldo, or toilet paper plant, also known as blue spur. And so this one in particular is acting more as like a service plant. It smells amazing. You can actually use it for toilet paper, and you can make tea out of it. And it creates a lot of biomass, so we can chop and drop it, and we can use it as a living mulch to feed our star fruit. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut some of those and show how that would look. So right next to the starfruit tree, we have a Jamaican caper. And so the Jamaican caper is one of our natives. It's an understory tree. And so this is a wonderful tree to just be in the agroforestry system. It's supporting the wildlife, it's supporting nature, the community that is larger than our human selves. It's supporting the whole system here by being a pump for water. And it's also gonna be able to be here in the shade when we have the upper canopy. When this gets taller, when the papayas and the bananas and everything are taller, it's going to hang out in that like lower sunlight and just be a wonderful addition to our system. We don't have to weed where it is because it's creating shade. So super valuable friend in our community here. Over here, this is another island, we can call it, and I want to show and share all the different species that are here. We have a variety of natives, medicinals, edibles and support species that are all growing together, and I want to show how beautifully they grow in harmony and occupy the different stratas or layers of the forest that require different amounts of sunlight. So on the bottom here, we have lots of pineapples growing. Pineapples are really happy growing in the shade, and so they're able to grow underneath the shade of this beautiful neem tree that's above. But not only do we have pineapples growing below, but we also have kunti. This is kunti. This is a native plant that is the host plant for the Atella butterfly, which is endangered. It's a rare butterfly, and so as you can see, it fits right in with the pineapples. So here I am growing the pineapples for us, for food, but we're able to just integrate a few of these other kuntis as well, the natives, to support our wildlife, make a beautiful garden, share this space with the butterflies and the birds, right? Right next to me, this actually planted itself, or the birds planted it. This is a Suriname cherry, and it's a beautiful place for it. We're happy that it's here. As I mentioned, the neem. And then over here, occupying this little space over here is the Florida thoroughwort. That's a native plant that's just fitting this little niche here really perfectly. It flowers. Here's a butterfly right here. Moving over, you can see we have papaya, and then behind is another starfruit tree, and again the boldo that we're using for the biomass. And then I'm going to show you what's on the other side around. Oh, you can see right here. This is malanga or taro root. It's growing in between here. And then arrowroot. You can make flour out of this. Just a beautiful plant as well. And it's just also like creating a nice occupying space, sharing in this niche here. So another wonderful option to like increase diversity of your plants. So we have some main species in this island here, and so we have the neem. It's a medicinal tree. It has many benefits, as particularly in cleansing, parasite cleansing, anti-parasitic, antifungal, antimicrobial. Amazing tree, super valuable, and it's also great as a chop and drop. So I can also use this to grow biomass for the other plants that I'm trying to grow. Additionally, here we have starfruit or carambola, and then behind us, another native, right? And so this is ojo de gallina or thorales. This is a perennial. It's always flowering, which is so beautiful. These beautiful yellow flowers that are love to be visited by the bees and the butterflies. And you can prune it. It occupies a nice space in the strata, and it's wonderful to have incorporated with the neem, the starfruit, the papaya, and just like sharing the space in the garden for us and for the wildlife as well. So here we're in the newest area of the food forest. We planted this area back in January, so about 6 months ago. Above us, you'll see a really tall sea grape tree. And so this sea grape tree we gave a big prune to back in January or December. And so by doing that pruning, we were able to open up all this light to allow the opportunity to start this new area of the forest, which is exactly what would happen in a natural forest. The vines come and pull the branches down, bringing the branches to the ground to bring new material to the ground to then bring forth new life. So the cycle of the forest continues. So we were able to aid in that process by pruning with saws and then opening up this space. And so this space, our focus here was native trees. So we have 3 primary trees that we're focusing on here, which is our pine, our native Florida pine, and mahogany, and our gumbo limbo. We'll do another shot of that one. We'll come back to it. And so while these are tropical hardwood trees, they take a long time to grow, and then the pine is a rockland tree, and so these trees take quite a bit of time to grow. And so in the meantime, we're thinking about not just the long term of these trees, but we're thinking about what can we grow this year, in 2 years, 5 years, 10 years. And so we have these other species that can benefit us and the wildlife in the meantime. And so surrounding, we have support species, we have native species, we have medicinal species, and we have edibles. We have longevity spinach. This is an edible, tropical, perennial spinach. It's delicious, and you can see it's doing an incredible job of being ground cover. Here we have eucalyptus or corymbia. That is an emergent species. It's going to grow very tall, and so it gives us a little shade over our primary species. And we're able to, because it grows tall and fast, we're able to use it for biomass. And so we can cut the branches and give those as mulch to the trees and help to stimulate growth. We also have, go this way, you can see that's our gumbo limbo. And so our gumbo limbo has probably grown maybe 3 feet since we planted it 6 months ago. And I think that's a real testament to growing natives in the agroforestry context and how we can accelerate the growth of natives in the agroforestry context by utilizing the tools that we have learned through agroforestry. So surrounding, you'll see all this diversity of species. We have papaya, we have aloe, we have punti, longevity spinach, salvias, Mexican sunflower or tithonia, This is one of our main support species, similar to the grasses. And so with these, we're going to chop and drop them and bring that stimulation of growth and biomass and nutrients to the soil, and to the soil life, the microbial life. So I'll show you how I do that with the Mexican sunflower. It's incredible how resilient this plant is. It also smells amazing. It grows so quickly, you can cut it all the way back and it'll just grow right back. So I've already pruned this once, I would say maybe twice. And so this, we're looking at probably 2 months of growth from where I'm cutting it now. Incredible how fast it grows. And so that's something you definitely would want to keep in mind. Depending on your context, if you don't have the ability to prune every 2 months, then you might not want to plant something like Mexican sunflower or Mombasa grass, because it might grow too vigorously for you. So you might want to consider other plants. Alright, so some of the other species that are growing in this garden, we have the pineland croton, the native Florida pine, wild coffee, Jamaican caper, mimosa, porterweed, salvia, kunti. We have pineapple. We'll be planting more pineapples in between. Great opportunity to grow food in between all of these beautiful natives. In that same garden space, we got hummingbird tree, mulberry, lots of pineapples, more Mexican sunflower. We have a dwarf Namois banana. This is ice cream bean, a beautiful support species that also makes food for us. This is a native boar hogbush. It's got some cerasee medicinal growing all over it. Papaya, of course. Cuban oregano. Got some beautiful native saw palmetto. Favorite native plants that's also medicinal and also serves a lot of roles in your garden, in your agroforestry system. So this is beautyberry. The leaves are sticky. It is a mosquito repellent, natural mosquito repellent. It makes these beautiful like fuchsia pink berries. Right now they're small and this one are green. It's a wonderful like understory shrub. So really great for agroforestry systems, but also incredible for the wildlife because it is native. It serves a lot of wonderful roles, and it grows fast and it grows big and it's beautiful. Plant it. Beauty berries I was talking about. And so these beauty berries are growing behind bananas. And there's also papaya, and there's some malanga or taro root in here. And so you can see this beautyberry is fruiting so much, and that's because it's growing intermixed with the bananas and the papaya, which we are feeding a lot of mulch and compost to. We didn't plant this beautyberry here, a raccoon or a bird did, and so it's thriving being in community with these other plants and our help with the soil. It's super beautiful. You can actually eat this or make a jam out of it. It doesn't taste like much. It's like has a floral taste. It's really light. It's for the birds. Alright, so over in this area we have a lot of fruit trees. These fruit trees are about 3-4 years old. We have a wanabana or soursop. We also have coconuts. We have a dwarf coconut here and another coconut here. And then additionally, sort of behind the camera, we have loquat. It's behind that Mombasa grass. You won't be able to really see it. And we have guava. So in this area, that's kind of the main focus. However, what you're going to see is we're also growing other food for us, but it's also support. So you can see we have yucca or cassava growing here. Another one over there. We also have moringa interspersed in. We have that boldo again, the toilet paper plant. There's some vetiver grass that's growing in there and actually doing quite well in the shade. And then a big thing I want to point out here is these two species that are in the front. And so these species, whereas maybe in a traditional syntropic agroforestry system, you would plant grasses along the edge, and you can see to the right, see the Mombasa grasses growing along the edge. And instead of growing the Mombasa grasses on this edge, I've opted to grow natives. And so here we have dune sunflower and we have lantana. They're super beautiful. They're always covered in bees and butterflies. So we're taking a moment to say like, hey, we can take this sunny edge and contribute it to wildlife community. In this area, our primary species that we are focusing on for the long term is our breadfruit. You can barely see it as these big, beautiful leaves. It's a young breadfruit. And then so everything here are plants and trees that are either support or that we are enjoying in the meantime. So lemongrass again, pigeon pea. This is a male papaya that sprouted up that's going to be chopped and dropped. Banana here is a support banana. In between you can't see, but there's CISO spinach and there's panadol, and so that's kind of occupying that ground floor layer. And then behind me is our Mexican sunflower again. And so today, as I said, we're approaching the new moon. We're going to chop and drop all of that and feed it to the breadfruit and stimulate that new growth. And additionally, there's a mulberry back here, and so that will get more of an opportunity to grow when we chop and drop our Mexican sunflower. Then if you also look above us, we also have support species that are growing alongside in the upper layer, in the emergent layer. And so we have our Hong Kong orchid here, and then we have another pioneer tree here. You can see with the tiny leaves right there. And so both of these, we're able to do a hard prune on those and bring all these branches down, open up more light, stimulate more growth, and bring fresh mulch to the ground to support these incredible trees. Wild coffee. To my agroforestry friends in Florida, especially, I want to say, do not sleep on wild coffee. Wild coffee is an awesome plant. It's a native, right? So it's not something that you're going to harvest from, but I think it is a wonderful shrub to include in your agroforestry systems because it does so well in the shade. You can chop and drop it. It does grow quite fast. And it really is like lush. It's beautiful. It's great for the birds. They love to hang out in it and eat the berries every year. So yeah, I want to say plant wild coffee. It's awesome. Got a calamandan type of citrus right here. It's just starting to make its first fruits. Surrounding it We have a sweet almond, makes a beautiful smelling flower. We have elderberry, and then we have this oak right here that's covered in maracuya or passion fruit. And what else we have? This hoja santa, which grows like crazy. So we chop and drop it like crazy, but and we love it because it's medicinal, but it does spread like crazy. So don't recommend planting this one in your garden. Do recommend chaya, one of my favorite plants. It's a tropical spinach from the Yucatan Peninsula, and it grows incredible. You can use it as a tree or as a small shrub that you can chop and drop a lot. And it's like your savings account. You have spinach forever. We do big harvests of it, and we have to boil it. You can't eat it raw, and then we freeze it, and so then our freezer's just full of spinach whenever you need for a stew or a saute or a soup. Chaya, incredible. Also, yeah, just great for chop and drop because it grows back so fast and so easily. So this is a unique area in our garden that in year 1, so now we're on year 5, this was the most sunny spot, and it's still quite a sunny spot. And so we made it into rows to grow vegetables. And since then, we have converted that. We planted a fire bush, which is a native for the hummingbirds and the butterflies. So that's going to be our kind of more long-term species. And in the meantime, you'll see we have lots of pineapples growing between. Rows of turmeric as well. And then in this row here, Ciso spinach is being the ground cover. And then we have this nitrogen fixing bean, like a jack bean from Mexico. And then in between, you'll see we got some corn that we got from the Yucatan Peninsula coming up. And so in between there, you're gonna see some pigeon pea right here, the nitrogen fixers along with these other beans from Mexico, and then some papayas. It's interesting. It's a lot of different things going on. Cosmos, salvias over here, katuk, spinach, and back beyond what's going to be growing up on that wall, we have a bunch of newly planted bananas, as well as you'll see sugar cane back there, and we have malanga or taro root back there because the AC drips, so we have a lot of water. So just a show, you can be thinking about what can I grow now, what can I grow in 6 months, 2 years, 10 years. Over here you'll see the chaya, moringa, achote or anato, and all of this is in support of or in waiting for the avocado, which is behind. You can't see it right now. And then this super tall emergent palm hanging out on top, just giving us a beautiful example of the forest and all of the layers of the strata. And at the bottom, some wildflowers. So beautiful. The beauty of abundance and diversity, right? And just the point of sharing this is sharing about how we can grow medicinals, natives, edibles, support species all together in diversity and harmony, and how that can benefit not only us but our community, but also our local wildlife. Peace and